How are you doing there, Paddy? Now, are you ready there as we hit that record?
I'm ready now.
Right there now, and roll it there, Russian, when you're ready. And
Hold it there.
roll it there, Russian. Oh, Jesus.
Thank God people don't hear this bit because we literally will be either locked up or cancelled.
Welcome to The Dose with Paddy and Belinda, your podcast for all things weight loss and GLP1. Remember, the information within this podcast should not be taken as personal medical advice. Always consult your own healthcare team before starting or changing any medical treatment. For now, sit back, relax and enjoy the conversation. It's The Dose with Paddy and Belinda.
And you're very welcome along to another episode of The Dose. It is myself, Paddy.
And myself, Belinda.
I wasn't sure there if you were going to remember your name there, but fair play, you did.
Thanks, mate.
Welcome to the party.
Goals.
Oh dear. So Belinda, we are back to mull over some of the world of health and wellness and GLP1.
Controversy.
Yeah, GLP1 treatments and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
To share our thoughts and insights and stuff. How have things been since we last spoke? Because
good. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what date it is. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here or somewhere else at the moment.
Yeah, because we missed you last week on the episode with Rob.
That's right. Was that only a week ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it feels like ages.
Yeah.
That's right. And that was so interesting, Paddy.
Yeah.
I think I said this to you already. I don't think I've ever heard a male's kind of experience of it, but also insight.
Yeah.
Especially two males having that conversation. I've never heard it, and anybody that I've spoken to that has listened to it has never heard it either. Because like it's such a predominantly female crib, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just something that we speak about nonstop, and men don't tend not to get involved in it. But it was brilliant. Well done to you and Rob as well. It was great.
Yeah,
you know.
No, absolutely. Like we were definitely got some really nice feedback on it, which is great. And if you haven't heard it, folks, I'd highly recommend, whether you're a man or a woman, or whatever, to just go and check that out. And I think if there's somebody in your life, if there's a man that's maybe struggled with his weight or maybe is considering, some of these forms of treatment in particular, I think it could be a good one to share them, because definitely got a good few messages afterwards. And what was really nice actually beforehand, because I teased it the day before, I got a couple of DMs from people saying that they were really looking forward to it and they couldn't wait for it to come out on Friday. So that was really nice. Really, really nice to get.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So, and it was worth the wait as well, definitely.
Yeah, and before, because the last time we were together was with Nikki when we recorded that podcast.
Oh yeah,
which
really enjoed that.
Yeah.
Really, actually, do you know what? I enjoy all of the podcasts. I really do.
Yeah. And it's nice to spend time with me, isn't it?
Oh yeah, God yeah, Paddy.
That's why you come here, isn't it?
Oh my goodness! Look, I nearly got my background.
Oh dear. So for people that mightn't be aware, we're recording this on like Google Meet, like Zoom type thing, and Belinda's just put up a nice little festive Christmas background, which people that are listening and not watching, it's going to be hugely beneficial to them.
I know.
Usually. So Belinda, what? So actually, some of the stuff that has happened since then.
Since a week ago.
Yeah, last week there was a TV show on RTE. RTE Investigates, which is their kind of journalistic, kind of factual based programming, looking into the black market of weight loss medications. So we're going to talk a bit about that in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, and for our overseas listeners, RTE would be our national
TV channel. Yeah.
TV channel. RTE is an acronym for Radio Telefís Éireann.
Yeah. So they're like the state broadcaster. State broadcaster that throw out such amazing programming such as Fair City, which is kind of like the world's leading sitcom.
Stop it, you're making a show of us.
Oh, I think I need to take a drink. But
all the lies.
Yeah, but also
this was extremely good television.
It was fantastic.
It was, yeah. Hats off to them now.
Yeah, they did do really, really good. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit more and a bit more insight into some of that. And then also there has been, it's that kind of time of year again, I guess, when people start thinking about January and stuff like that. And we're going to do a separate podcast about, well, we've a live coming up. What do I say? By the time this goes out, the live will have been. So we've done a live about Christmas
On
and stuff like
Thursday.
that. But that is going to be coming out as a live kind of podcast as well that we will be featuring. But it is that time of year that when people start thinking about the new year and slimming clubs and stuff like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about slimming clubs will be part of it, but I guess a bit more about some of the attempts that we have both tried before in a bit more detail to lose weight. Maybe some of the ones that we've had different experiences of, some of the ones that maybe weren't so bad, some of the ones that were maybe not so good, and kind of delve into those. And then some stuff with your attempts I only found out about this week that I never knew. So I think that's going to be really
All
interesting.
right, yeah. Are we going to talk about that today?
Yeah, I think so. Why not? Like
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit.
we should. Yeah,
we can dig into it a bit more as well. So, folks, this is going to be a real. I honestly think this is going to be a really, really interesting episode. So hopefully you will stick with us throughout it. So,
And
Belinda,
I think purely because anyone that's listening to this is or has grown up in the diet culture and will have so much in this podcast that they can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm getting over a touch of the flu. And obviously, as we know, man flu is like the worst ailment in the world. Like there's nothing as bad as man flu.
Horrendous.
Nothing ever could be as bad as man flu. So just bear with me and be gentle over the next 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Whilst I persevere on and I'm doing this for the
Paddy,
people.
you'll be okay. We will get through this. You'll be all right.
You know, the people need this. I can't let the people down.
Okay, who are we gonna lash into first?
Okay. Okay, so Belinda, you obviously knew that this RT show was coming up for a while. I had alluded to it that it was coming up. So I'd love to know, what was your initial reaction as you were watching the show?
I suppose my reaction would have been shock mostly, because even though I am engrossed in this world of GLP1 medications and 17,000 followers on Instagram, I have never been offered any kind of black market medication ever. I've gotten people, like hundreds and hundreds of people, asking me if I'm selling it or where they can get it, but no one's ever offered me that in Paddy.
This is wild.
You know what I mean?
And I find this fascinating because, like, I'm only on this journey, like,
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. And I'd say there's not a week goes by that I don't get some kind of dodgy DM on TikTok.
Yes,
I would say, not Instagram, on TikTok. In relation to that, I'm going to open up TikTok now and hopefully the audio doesn't go off, because even as recent as the week before last, I had somebody messaging me in Ireland wanting to sell me the medication. I had kind of led them on a bit because I was
yes, well done.
I wanted to see how far would it kind of go, and basically they had they saw I was on Mounjaro, but like, oh, this is Ozempic. I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm thinking of changing because it's too dear and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to kind of see what would they say. I'm trying to see if I can find the messages now because they might have blocked me actually. But account not found. Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So as soon as you said I didn't want it, or
so basically the way that it went down was, they said that they had Ozempic available, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant, I'm looking to change, I've been on Mounjaro. They said, oh, you're on Mounjaro, this is different now. And I was like, yeah, I know, but you know, I think it's time for a change, blah blah blah, and just see what they say. And they're like, yeah, no problem, I can get it out to you tomorrow if you send me the payment today. And I was like, oh, right, and where are you? They're like, I'm based in Ireland. And I was like, okay, could I come and meet you to pick it up? And they're like, no, I'll post it to you. And I was like, oh, how will I pay? And they're like, oh, you can send it by Revolut or you can send it by PayPal, send me the money and I'll send it to you. And I was like, oh, okay, do I need a prescription or anything like that for this? And they're like, no, it's fine, you don't need a prescription for it. I'm sure you've already been on Mounjaro. And I was like, okay, do you need like blood tests or any kind of medical info from me? And they're like, and then I think maybe they were like, oh, this person's maybe asking more than a normal person does. And they're like, oh, have you had your bloods done recently? Did you have your bloods done when you started Mounjaro? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, well then, no, you're okay. We can send it to you.
Like, I know the questions you asked, but were you presenting as somebody that didn't have a clue that he wasn't a doctor? Were you going in with the impression, giving him the impression you thought he was a doctor selling it legitimately?
I just went in oblivious, not knowing, as in like, oh, I'm assuming you're doing this the right way and I know no different.
Okay, great.
So then when I said, oh, look at, because they said, send me the payment now, I'll get it tomorrow. And I was like, oh, look, can we wait just a couple of days, just like get paid? And then they started going cold on me. So I don't know, did they start looking through my profile a bit more and maybe see a bit more about me or what? But then they stopped replying then. So they did. So I'd say they probably copped on a bit. But they were all on for sending it to me by next day delivery.
Was this after the program on RTE?
Before it.
It was
a couple of days before it. So it was. So yeah, but
I wonder how the landscape looks now after that, with people trying to sell it online, because those three sellers were outed from undercover, people that worked in RTE.
Yeah, I was up in Dublin and I was tempted to go up and see was your man there selling it with his flowers.
Oh, with the flowers.
Yeah. But I didn't. But
he probably is.
Probably. God knows, sales could have increased from it. Who knows? But basically, so the program what it did, it went undercover and found people online who were selling various types of medication, predominantly Ozempic or semaglutide, and basically trying to see how much info would people give. It was shocking to see that some people were like, oh, I've got 350 people. They were going up to Belfast to get it. Some people they were meeting, they were telling everything. And I was just sitting there cringing.
That's what I was saying, Paddy.
God.
Second Irish, we can't keep our mouth shut.
Oh, they were telling all
their business, everything.
Yeah.
To all the strangers, and oh my God.
It was
grow up.
It was wild. And again, I guess the thing that's really important from my perspective, the way that I feel is, I don't want there to be any stigma around people who try to access it this way, because we know it's not the right way, but equally, we have probably, and we'll touch on this probably in a while, but we have both, I think, probably been in a situation where we've been so desperate that we would have tried anything to get the medication. Anything.
Yeah.
And I can understand if I had gone to my doctor or a couple of doctors, they were like, no, we're not supporting you. And then you see a post somewhere.
But Paddy, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had gone to my doctor. I had tried to pluck up the courage for weeks and weeks and weeks, probably a couple of months, to go in and try and speak to them about it. And when I did, they weren't having any of it. And so I went out that day and I thought to myself, I'm going to get this drug.
Yeah.
I don't care how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I think it was only the luck of the gods that when I went online that I was getting it. I went to the online thing I went to, MobiDoc.
Yeah.
And they weren't great, but it was a bit too easy at the time. It's not as easy now. They look for bloods and everything off you now. So yeah. But if I had seen, Paddy, if I had seen something like that, I probably would have. I definitely, actually, I don't know. I'm saying probably for 100% would have stuck it in my eye, mate.
Yeah, no, I know, and I think that's it's more so though. I feel really. I mean this in a genuine way. Sorry for the people that are getting sucked in that way to be given illegal, illegitimate forms of a medication. That one of the things that shocked me was there was no cold chain being maintained for any of those medications that were being given out. So all of this medication needs to be maintained within a cold chain up until its first use. None of them were. Some of them were coming back from Turkey.
Yeah, like in a handbag.
And so, you know that then when you're getting the medication, there is a very, very high chance that the stability of it has already been compromised. You know?
So what is that going to do to you then? Is that going to make you sicker? Or is it just going to make the drug ineffective completely, that you're paying for, you might as well be taking water?
So there is a couple of things. And again, I guess first and foremost, I guess the only people that can really say that is Eli Lilly or the manufacturers, Novo Nordisk, and the different ones that produce the medication. But I did happen to query this some time ago with Eli Lilly in relation to what can happen either if a medication is exposed to the light or the heat or out of the fridge for too long or stuff like that, and it could be the efficacy of it. So you might think you're getting, a certain dose and you're absolutely more than likely not going to be getting that, even though you're paying for it. But then also, particularly with the light element of things, if it's been exposed to light and if it's coming from countries like Turkey where it's really hot and sunny a lot of the year, that is a strong possibility as well. That can impact the safety of it as well. from what I gather, in terms of, I'm not sure what it does, something to do with the molecules in it and stuff like that, but it can have an impact on it there as well. The same reason that when it goes well beyond expiry date, this other thing, how old is the medication? Like, there's so many questions, so many questions about it. But
I think as well that that's why it's working. That's why it's happening out there, because people are preying on the uneducated majority of people around these drugs, and that's why. But that's why we're doing this. We're doing TikTok. We're doing Instagram, is to try and advocate for people to be able to get this in a safe environment. You know.
So like whether it be your Ozempic, which is also Wegovy, or your Mounjaro, which is also tirzepatide, those, and Saxenda, obviously, those, 3 medications can be accessed safely and securely from the Republic of Ireland. With Mounjaro, as we touched on before, that is going to be released in the Republic of Ireland in hopefully early 2025. But like, they can all still be accessed, and that's where both myself and Belinda have content on our pages about how you can safely access that medication from Ireland. So please, even if the case that your doctor has said no, and there's no medical reason, obviously, well, your doctor has said no and you want to get a second opinion, it could be a case that you do your research, you look for another doctor that gives you a second opinion to see what they say, or you get a consultation somewhere and just kind of, go about it the right ways.
The right way. Exactly. Yeah. And I think as well, just going back to your first question, Paddy, what was my kind of take on it all? I think the most stunning thing to come out of it was that the triple G
Retatrutide. Retatrutide,
yeah. In phase 3 in the United States, under lock and key, like lockdown. Yeah. And when they started talking about the fact that this drug was up in the streets of Limerick or somewhere, was it?
Yeah.
And Dublin. And I thought to myself, oh, sure, look, like they're probably getting water or in the vials, but absolutely not. No,
there was definitely an element of retatrutide in the liquid. Now, this is the other thing. It didn't give us the full profile of what was in that. I would have loved now if they could have shown us the full profile of what else was in that liquid. Because Yes, because I would suspect that there is some form of, as you say, water or diluting agent or preservative or something has been done to change the originality, if you get me, of that medication. Yeah, that it's not what the people in the clinical trial are getting. I would highly suspect that would be the case. Now, we also do have an open query out with Eli Lilly with this exact question. We have submitted a number of queries to Eli Lilly, to their public affairs team, who in fairness have been responsive, and anytime I've sent Eli Lilly queries, they have been very good at me with kind of getting back to me.
Just to interrupt there, that's a royal we, that's actually Paddy, not me.
But I have sent Eli Lilly on the back of the announcement of Mounjaro being released in Ireland a couple of queries, because it looks like it's going to be more expensive. There could be some reasons for that. Wanting to know a bit more about that, about the distribution of it. But this happened to be around the time when this program came out, so I have put a question into Eli Lilly as well, specifically asking them for what is their control measures for the clinical trials, how many, if any, from Ireland and the UK are in the clinical trials for Retatrutide, and what's their kind of comment on how has something that is so lock and key in a clinical trial somehow is in the public domain for people being able to purchase, even though it has not yet been approved anywhere in the world for use. Yeah, it is not. This has not been approved for human consumption anywhere.
Yeah, but sure, phase 3, that's not even on humans yet, so it's not.
There are humans taking it.
Are there? Yeah, okay, look at them.
But it's still very much as it's just a trial basis. I was listening to a woman from Australia, I think it was, that is part of the trial, and she was basically explaining, like, this gets delivered to my house, they come and pick up the empties, they come and pick up the boxes, everything. So this is how I don't understand how it's out there. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. And the thing is as well, you can imagine if they're saying that it's going to be expensive here in Ireland or in Europe when it's licensed and marketed, but Jesus, you can't even imagine how expensive it's going to be in the States.
Yeah.
Like for a pen of Ozempic over there, it's like $1,000.
Yeah, it's mad. It is.
It's absolutely crazy. And I don't understand how that works. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, while we're on that subject, let's talk about one of the most famous people in the world
Me?
taking it.
Oh,
Yes, Paddy.
no. Okay.
Good old Oprah.
Yeah. So there's a program on Disney Plus have it, I think it is.
I just got a login off my cousin for Disney.
Because they have gifted it to you as your own membership, Belinda. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Correct them on though.
You're not sharing passwords. But yeah, so the whole program is on Disney Plus. And if you haven't watched it, definitely highly recommend that you go and watch the full show. Oprah, of course, was somebody that was on the board for Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers for 9 years, yeah.
In the US.
Yeah.
And had been one of their main kind of people. But then she started taking, was it Mounjaro?
Wegovy.
Wegovy, okay.
Yeah.
And when she started...
But she's saying that she's taken it as a maintenance, to stay in maintenance.
Okay.
I think she's claiming that she would have gotten to her goal weight with Weight Watchers, and then introduced the GLP1 medication Wegovy to just help her maintain. But is that the program where the girl Amy is on it? Amy in Half.
Yes.
Yeah, she's lovely.
And the mother and the child, and there's this whole conversation about should you be giving it to children and stuff like this, and there's trials ongoing with some of that as well. But yeah, so it is I found it a very, very good show. I found it pretty balanced, pretty empathetic. They talk about Mounjaro, about the Ozempic side of things as well. But I think it's interesting saying that you go on it for maintenance, because going by the prescribing criteria, you still need to be classed as obese
to go on it, and you have to have the higher BMI. Now I know their BMIs are different over there.
Could be, yeah, but like it's still a BMI in and around 30 that you're looking to be prescribed it.
Yeah.
So that's
right. Yeah.
So that's now, and again, come here. This is the thing, though. Not everybody who considers their maintenance phase is going to be at what the BMI terms as healthy. I actually had this conversation with my doctor the other day. I was in, and I had a different doctor, and first of all I was saying, I'm on a GLP1 medication. I'd never met this doctor before, and he's like, oh, where are you getting that? Where are you getting it? Who prescribed that? Where are you getting it? And I was like, oh, I explained that.
Calm down.
So then it was like, oh, okay. I think maybe he more so just wanted to make sure it was legit. I think maybe, I don't know. I'll go
I suppose, there's huge red flags around all of it now. The minute you mention it,
And because I wasn't pre-diabetic or stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know. But anyway, he did say then, do you have a kind of like a goal weight in mind? And I was like, no, I don't. I said, if I was to go by BMI, and he calculated my BMI there and then, I said my BMI would have me at like 12 and a half stone. And he himself was like,
no way.
No,
not allowed.
No, as in like, it wouldn't suit me because I'm like 6'1", I'm quite broad. So I would look like a stick. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not my goal. So he himself said, when you get to maybe 105 kilos, maybe see how things are then for you, how you feel, what things are, and then kind of judge if there's a case that you want to lose a bit more. So I thought that was a refreshing take on, you need to be this because your BMI says this,
Yeah. And also, Paddy, like when you decide that you are at maintenance phase, what does that look like? Have you looked at research done on it where for the weight loss medication is concerned? I don't know much about it myself, if I'm being honest, but you'll probably have reached the 15 milligram dose by then, I think. Because you're just gonna do that, aren't you? You're gonna skyrocket up to that.
So like I'm on 12 and a half at the moment milligram.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Funnily, I don't know, like I found like the first week I was on 12 and a half, definitely suppression was really, really strong. But I think 10 might have been more consistent, if that makes any sense. It's odd the way the medication works at times. But anyway, I'm on 12 and a half at the moment. But
then we're all different as well.
Exactly,
everybody's body is,
But in terms of maintenance, what I have seen is that there are some people that come off it cold turkey, and they just do it. What I would say is the majority of all those people I have seen online have ended up talking about the food noise again and have ended up going back on it.
But Paddy, the food noise comes back so quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you given? I know that you're going to be coming off it for a couple of weeks soon. Have you given any thought to that kind of the food noise and anxiety around it coming back? Because as I said, it does come back quite quickly, and I think predominantly the food noise is what kills us. You know, in the end, that's what gets us.
I am scared shitless about that.
Okay, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
it is nerve-wracking. Yeah, it's a huge thing actually.
Like I'm so for context, and we'll probably talk about this more and probably do a whole episode about it. Why not? Maybe next year. But yeah, so at the end of January, I'm going to have to come off the medication for 2 weeks before surgery. And then an undefined amount of time afterwards. That could end up being a week. It can end up being a few weeks. I don't know. But also, as well as that, I've been advised that I'm going to have to stop my strength training and gym and stuff like that as well.
Yes. Walking will be okay.
Walking should be okay. Yeah.
Low impact.
But I am concerned about that because I've put in so much effort with my strength training. And the reason being is, in case people think there's anything wrong or anything like that, there's not. It's more so I have a deviated septum and I'm getting surgery on that to try and help rectify that so that my airflow can improve to my nose. And basically with the strength training, when you're breathing like normal, but particularly when you're doing that type of training, you're putting a lot of extra pressure through the little vessels in your nose, and that won't help with it healing and all that kind of stuff, which is why I'm going to have to kind of pause it for a while. So
because when you're lifting heavy things, well, the pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably don't even realize it the way that you would kind of flare your nose or tense your nose, but you do.
Yeah,
when
you do. Yeah.
So I am. So there's a lot happening around that time, the end of January into February, which definitely is.
And what have you come up with a plan of action for yourself for that time, Paddy? Do you have a plan going into it? Do you have a plan how you're going to get through it? You've obviously thought about the nerve-wracking side of it, actually coming off the medication, but plan-wise,
yeah, I think. I haven't fully, but I think, like, if I look at what have I done before and I've been trying to lose weight and that has been sustainable in the short term, has been tracking my food intake and being more aware. So I'm probably going to do that. Do that. As much as I have not done that, bar the first week, I'd say, for tracking my protein intake in particular. But since then, I have not tracked any week ever off this journey. But I think to use it as maybe a control mechanism for myself for those few weeks, I think that's probably
the calorie tracking. Yeah. And what about maybe your mindset as well? Would you consider going into it with the mindset of maintenance as opposed to weight loss, taking the pressure off yourself?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I got through those weeks, ending that, I don't know, like at the moment it could be anything from 3 to
a month.
Yeah, 3 weeks to 5, 6, 7. I don't know, weeks. If I was to come out of that period of time the same weight that I went into it, I'd be happy enough.
Win.
Yeah, so that's probably the best way to kind of describe that. But like in terms of maintenance in general, then what I've kind of seen is, as I say, some people coming off it. Majority, I think I'm only aware of one person who has said that they have not gone back on it, out of multiple people that I know who did come off medication, either Ozempic or Mounjaro. But then what I've seen some of the pharmacies in the UK do is work with people on personalised protocols in terms of either maintaining the dose that they're at or trying to step it back to a lower dose. In America, what I've seen done is like microdosing, whereby you take a smaller amount at different intervals and stuff like that. Again, that is off-label. That's not the way the medication's, designed to work, to be used. But this is where I think there is some bit of a
Leeway.
for the prescribers to kind of work with people like, okay, what does maintenance look for you now? Because again, there's still an awful lot of places that when you hit that, and I even had this the other day actually with somebody in Ireland, where they hit their goal weight and the chemist was like, no, we're not giving it to you anymore because you've hit your goal weight.
What?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to put it down to our normal BMI weight then.
So that's interesting. But I think that could have been that pharmacy maybe. I don't know actually. I'd be interested to know, because I do know a few other pharmacies. I'd be interested to ask them what their kind of plan is. But
yeah,
I know from
prescribers now, not the actual. Yeah.
So up the north you have the prescribing pharmacies. Down south, obviously, we know that we don't yet. For this medication, but as we both know, with doctors we've spoken to and endocrinologists, they're very much the other opinion that no, absolutely, you need this medication long term. You know, yeah.
But sure, that's what it was made for. People with diabetes have been on Ozempic for 22, 25 years.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps talking about the long-term side effects.
Yeah.
If you want to know what the long-term side effects are, then just look at those people.
Like, and again, this is where I look at, if I hadn't lost the weight with the support of Mounjaro and worrying about 25 years ahead, I'd be looking up and into the last few years of my life.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But listen, Paddy, I always say this, and I know we were talking about Oprah a moment ago, but if the likes of Oprah Winfrey, who has her own gym, her own trainer, her own chef, her own dietitian, her own nutritionist, she literally could afford to employ somebody to walk around beside her and slap food out of her hand 24/7. Now, if she couldn't do it without the help of medication, what hope do we have?
I know.
Zero.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting, and this is a nice little... and actually, before we move on, the reason why we were talking about the RT show as well is I contributed to it.
Paddy, you were in it.
I was in it. I was in that show.
I forgot to mention that.
Now, we did end up it was gas. When it came on, do you know what my first thought was, Belinda? Like the first snippet off me, was, oh, that's 3 stone ago I recorded that. I was 3 stone heavier when I recorded that.
What? And you can tell as well, Paddy.
Oh God.
You can tell, yeah.
Because even for... I can't say too much about this other... I know you know, but the other thing that's on in January. But there's another RTE show coming out in January that I'm on. And even by the time it comes out, it'll have been 2 and a bit stone ago since...
That's right.
So it's funny because...
So you'll look like a completely different person.
I don't...
and to the previous one as well.
Yeah, well, I mean...
You won't see it. But...
Yeah, the one that's on in January will be interesting because...
Paddy, I hate when you talk about this one in January.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my heart is broke. I was invited to go on it, and I said no. And I don't know why I said no. Yeah. Anyway,
and
what's for me won't pass me by.
Exactly.
We'll wait again. And and I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal.
I hope so. Like, it will. It's not just with me. Obviously, there's a lot more to that show, but I think this is going to, because one bit of feedback I got about the other RTE show, even though we recorded, I don't know how long did I record, maybe 15 minutes worth of footage for them. They used like maybe 90 seconds, not even 90 seconds, I don't know, off it, but that's the way TV goes. It didn't really go into the right way to access the medication and stuff like that. So that was the one thing, but I guess their scope was not that. Their scope was to highlight the illegitimate ways that it was currently happening in the hope that people would contact their doctors and stuff like that. And from speaking to, one of the people that were producing the show the next day when they rang me, he was saying that the intent was the show after that, which was one which you were invited to go on as well, actually, that Monday, that show was meant to expand.
Oh my God, that one after it.
Yes, that one was meant to expand a bit more about the legitimate ways. So there was meant to be some.
I hope I've expanded anything. Choke me, Jesus.
But so I think the show that's on in January, I'm really excited to see it because it was a really positive experience recording it. Since then, the engagement I've had with the presenter and with the producer have been really lovely, really lovely. And I've high trust in what they're producing, and for the people that are involved. And I've seen some of the work aware of some of the work they've been putting into it. So I think it's going to be a nice insight into.
How many parts is to that?
2.
Is that a little? documentary series.
Two
Oh, right,
parts.
a docu-series. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. The other thing I would have, I thought that would come at the end of last week's program was a phone number, a warning, some info, so where you could go for information on how to get this medication, or help if you feel that you have been, affected by this, or.
Yeah,
But I
did they
suppose-
have?
Yeah.
I think they might have had up the generic kind of RTE / support or help or something. I think they might have had that as like their general, because they have a general page that covers like the helplines for all different types of things. So
Right.
I think they might put that up.
So
at the end of it.
if you're that way inclined, you'll go find it.
Yeah, it's not kind of listed exactly, but so I think that was one of the things. But but that Oprah documentary is definitely worth watching. It's on
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that this evening, maybe.
I'm just looking here to see what's it called in case people are wondering. Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution. Yeah, that's it.
And it's great that Oprah's gotten behind it. It really is, because I know, like, she's superhuman, but it does humanize the struggle a lot, doesn't it? And she's 70,
Is she? She's
70.
It is a brilliant show, and she has people from Novo Nordisk and from Eli Lilly and from Weight Watchers. So I do think it's an interesting show, and I think it is. Yeah, it's fairly insightful. But speaking of Weight Watchers, because in the US, Weight Watchers brought out a plan that was, as we know, Weight Watchers was one of these kind of programs. My nose will not stop running. Thank God you cannot see me. But Weight Watchers was one of the weight loss groups where you counted points and all this kind of stuff.
Slimming rooms.
Yeah. And they have deviated now a little bit, whereby they have, as they put it, weight loss, health gains, choose the path that fits you. And they offer you 3 approaches. One is get our trusted points program, which is the one that anyone that has ever dabbled in Weight Watchers will be aware of. They have coach-led workshops with other members. Again, most of us are probably going to be aware of that kind of vibe. And then they also have access weight loss meds. So via Weight Watchers in the US, you can access the GLP1 medications.
You can access a prescription for it, for $99 a month.
Yeah.
$99 a month, excluding the price of the medication.
Yeah. So it's there's a few different
Crazy.
ones. So they have. See, this what I'm. Okay. Is this? I'm trying. Yeah. So they've got different things here, because they have, like, in America as well. There is vials in. Oh, I'm just looking at the website here. I'm like, oh, they've got this. So they have Mounjaro. They have Ozempic.
Is that compounded or is that?
So they have the actual Mounjaro. They have the actual Ozempic. They have compounded semaglutide, which is Ozempic. They have Wegovy, which is Ozempic, and they have Zepbound, which is Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide. So it's a bit confusing. But then they also have, so they have the vials Zepbound as well, but they also have metformin. Have you ever heard of metformin?
Yeah, it's for diabetics. Take it. That's for weight loss as well, though, isn't it?
So this is one of the approaches that has been taken in the US as well, is that they're almost bundling metformin with one of the GLP-1 type medications for people that need an extra kick as such with the medication even, which is fascinating. But
but that's just going to help them to level out their blood sugars, isn't it? And it's going to help them, their insulin, not to spike so high and have really high highs and crashing low then. Isn't that what it does? Yeah, so
I think it is meant to work along those lines, meant to help balance their blood sugars. I say I haven't looked into it a huge amount, but it is. Now,
my partner Sean has been on metformin for years, and it never did anything to him. And then, of course, he went on Ozempic,
Yeah.
I'll say about 5 months ago, and sure, none of his clothes fit him anymore. There's zero. There's nothing in the house that fits him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so that's crazy.
But so the one thing I'll say is obviously this is commercially driven, but I do appreciate, maybe is the word I'll use, and I'll use it lightly. I appreciate the fact that Weight Watchers have expanded their mind a bit to be like, okay, do you know what? Other than just this points counting, there might be other ways that people can be supported with their weight loss via medication.
They had to pivot.
Yeah. So
They had to,
And if we compare that then to a bit closer to home and what is happening. So if you look at Weight Watchers in the UK, they have a GLP1 track that you can follow. They don't do the medication, obviously, or anything whatsoever like that. But at least I don't think they have. No, I'm just looking there. So they have new Weight Watchers GLP1 program. You're already taking weight loss medication. Now unlock a program designed for your unique needs.
Okay.
So that's
You're grand. No thanks.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. Again, if you're getting this medication, you should be able to lean on your prescriber, your doctor, your pharmacist, all the kind of stuff for nutrition advice and guidance.
Not a company that's just doing it for financial gain and nothing else.
Yeah, like it's but again, I can appreciate that they have broadened their scope a little bit, that we need to keep with the times of how people are being supported in terms of their weight loss as such. Now, going to move on to, actually, have you done Weight Watchers? How many times? Okay, let me rephrase that. How many times have you done Weight Watchers?
Yeah, I'd say I started when I was like maybe 15. I'd say maybe 5 or 6 times I was in and out of it.
Wow.
Never lost any weight.
So I did it.
Paddy, you told me this during the week.
Yeah. So
tell the people at home what you did.
God. So I only ever tried Weight Watchers once when I can tell you exactly because I was living in Carrick and Shannon at the time. So I would have been about 20 when I first joined Weight Watchers. So that's like 42, nearly 43 years ago. Oh my God. Anyway.
No, not for
20. Oh God. See, I can't even count.
Yeah.
20,
math pad.
God, buff. My brain, it's man flu. Remember I mentioned I had man flu?
Oh, yeah, I heard that earlier.
Poor me.
Continue on.
Poor me. Where's my little
Tell the people at home what you did when you joined Weight Watchers.
So I joined Weight Watchers and I followed the points and the free foods or whatever there was at the time. And I gained weight on Weight Watchers. I didn't lose weight.
Were you going in there every single week, standing on the scales, and your weight was going up?
Yeah, and they're like, "What?
What are you doing?"
I was like, "I'm doing what you tell me do, but I'm gaining weight. I swear." Yeah, so I left it then. I was like, "What am I at here?" Because
the Weight Watchers was very different to Slimming World, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it still had your free type foods back then.
Did it?
Yeah, it still had some foods that were free. I'm nearly sure there was like free.
I blocked it out. Yeah.
I'm just looking here. I'm sure there was, 0 point foods. There was, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is,
did you have the calculator, Paddy? The little pocket calculator?
I think I had a scales, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a little calculator, and you would open it up, and you go into the supermarket, and you could find out how many points were in whatever food. Yeah, it was awful. Yeah.
But the thing is, there is no food, for the most part, that we would be eating day to day that is 0 calories. So therefore, there should be no food that you are told eat as much as this as you want without needing to worry. Now, yes, of course, there are foods that are harder to overeat or foods that will be hard to overconsume to a caloric surplus.
Well, for me.
But like I guess what they're trying to get is, hey, it's going to be really difficult for you to eat 4,000 calories worth of blueberries or something. But like, do you know what I mean? But the logic there is a bit flawed in terms of telling anyone, particularly that has struggled with food, you can eat as much of this as you want. That's not a healthy relationship starting point.
And you even comprehend, though, Paddy, and there's the crux of it all. that they never considered for one moment that people were going to be walking into those doors and sitting in those rooms that had food noise, or that had compulsions around food, or couldn't, like their ghrelin and their leptin hormones were off the charts, and they would never be able to quash their hunger, and they would never be able to feel full. There was nothing. There was nothing. And the only education we were given then was absolutely eat all of these free foods and you'll never put on weight. Like you, Paddy. Jesus, I need, I lost weight in there, but nothing that was ever stuck or anything.
Yeah, like, and things like I used to like their app, so that's why, like, and even like over the years I've joined.
That's why you joined, isn't it?
Yeah, now I've joined the UK one a few times online, like with their app and that. But again, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm not going to be able to live like by points for the rest of my life. What am I at like? But again, I can understand, because people are like, I want to give this a go. Or something that we touched on is, like if we talk about, say, Slimming World, and I think this is where me and you have probably different ends of the scale in terms of our thoughts on Slimming World. Like, I think, actually, I'll ask you first. In without like dragging us into any legal ramifications, Belinda.
Put this one behind a paywall. It'll be fine.
What was your experience of Slimming World?
Oh God, Paddy, that's got to be a whole podcast on its own. Honestly,
you have 10 seconds.
Okay, well, it was awful. It was horrendous. I went with one of my good friends at the time. She lost, like, I don't know, 10 stone or something. I lost 1.5 stone. We ate exactly the same from the same program.
Yeah.
And it was awful. And I just felt the only thing that I got out of Slimming World was an extremely unhealthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
It damaged me more than anything I'd ever been through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah. For me, it was the one that I used to position as kind of the best of a bad lot. And I'm talking specifically, first of all, about the plan that they had, because I loved things like eggs and ham and potatoes and pasta and the stuff that would have been classed as their free foods. So I rarely would have used sins. Even the name, my God.
And Paddy, were you overeating on those foods, do you think?
I think because I would have been quite good at tracking as well at that stage. So
but you weren't tracking free food, were you?
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I still would have. Yeah, because again, I guess I still needed that element of control, because I didn't believe you can eat as much of this as you want.
I believed it.
Yeah.
And I ran with it.
And I think this is where maybe, like, I went in with. So maybe why Slimming World holds maybe a softer spot for me than some of the others is that the only time in the UK, bar The Biggest Loser, which we spoke about before, but that I ever lost a good amount of weight was on Slimming World. And I had a lovely consultant when I was in England. So when, and actually I don't know if I told you this, but so I know I've made reference to the kind of couple of weeks before I started on Mounjaro, I had rejoined Slimming World in Sligo here for those few weeks, because I'd been in it.
Oh yeah, you did. You told me this. Yeah.
So I'd been in it for on and off over a couple of years, and the consultant that I went to, called Charlotte, she's just a dream of a human being. She is the epitome of compassion, of loveliness, of being real about things, being understanding, zero shame. Just for me, Charlotte was what made this group for me, as opposed to the plan. So I was going more so to see her, and because
the support,
she was always so proud of me, and she was always so encouraging. But I think definitely, given the insights of having been, done the personal training and the nutrition insights, I definitely was tweaking the plan though to suit myself and using it more as an accountability thing to go and stand on a scale in front of somebody.
Okay. And so how did you feel in those moments when you were stood on the scales and you went in and you hadn't lost any weight that week, and it was said around the class while you were all sitting around in a circle? How did that feel for you in those moments?
I probably wouldn't have stayed for class. I probably only stayed for class when I lost weight.
Got it. Same.
Seriously.
Sames.
Yeah.
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 Most of the time. Yeah.
But then, like, this time around, I was comfortable with whatever. So this time around, like, I was only there for a few weeks, so I did stay for some of the classes.
Right before you started Mounjaro, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
so
then I
6 months ago,
started Mounjaro, and I stopped going to the class. And it didn't say I was stopping, but I missed a class because I didn't know in my head what was I going to do. And then I missed another week. And then I can't remember if Charlotte.
The weight was coming off.
Yeah, I can't remember if Charlotte messaged me or if I.
They usually would, to say that they've missed you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and like I told Charlotte exactly what I was doing and how I'd been starting this medication, and that even though I knew Charlotte would welcome me with open arms, that I didn't want to. I don't know.
Didn't feel it was ethical?
Muddy the waters for people that maybe I was getting support from a medical form that other people maybe weren't, and that maybe I had an advantage over them. I don't know.
But you would have an advantage over them, Paddy.
It didn't sit right with me. So that's why I said to Charlotte, look, I'm going to take a step back from classes just because I don't want to, kind of muddy the waters for things.
And in your own head as well.
Yeah, and I actually bumped into Charlotte in town there maybe, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. And she had such a big hug for me, and like just saying, I'm so proud of you, Paddy. And like, just, yeah.
Does she follow what you're doing?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So again, for me, that was because it was the consultant made that for me, as opposed to the plan or the company or the commercial entity of Slimming World, which I definitely disagree with their stance that they've taken on GLP-1 medications. And with that, I'm going to go into something that they've come out with. So they came out about a year ago, basically lukewarm with the weight loss medication, about a year ago, I think it was, or maybe earlier this year, I can't remember, with like a statement about the weight loss medications, about, oh, hey, we're always going to be here, these can't be forever, you can only stay on them for 2 years, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm getting a different vibe off ye. I'm getting a different vibe off ye than I was getting from the Weight Watchers website, which was a bit interesting. So I had thought that SlimWorld would take the same approach and kind of embrace and do a GLP-1 type thing. And that's what I said to Charlotte at the time. I was like, look, I really wish SlimWorld would do this, do something like what Weight Watchers are doing, at least to show people that are on these medications that they are welcome and that they will be supported in some way. Because for some people, those classes are their social outlet for the week, and it's more than just the weight loss. It's somebody's only opportunity to go out and socialise with other people from the community, or to get away from the kids, or to get away from home.
And that's it, and that's what it brings, though, isn't it? I made loads of great friends in Slimming World. I always had a good time there,
But so what Slimming World came out with in October. So
just now,
so October, and there's more recent ones. So I've got 2 little things for you. So this is Slimming World's Head of Nutrition, Research and Health. I'm going to the full statement out. Research has shown that GLP-1 medications do aid weight loss, but they're not a magic bullet, and they certainly aren't for everyone. So we would agree, GLP-1s do aid weight loss. They're not a magic bullet on their own, but they absolutely are a game changer. And particularly with the likes of Mounjaro, it can be effective for a majority rather than minority, is what I'd say there. Some people won't be medically eligible to take them, fair enough, and there are people who won't want to use weight loss medication, absolutely, so that's fair enough-ish. There's also growing acknowledgement that to support weight maintenance, lasting changes around food, drink and activity are needed alongside weight loss medication. I don't think anyone would say the opposite
would disagree with that.
Yeah, exactly. As the UK's leading weight management organisation specialising in behaviour change support, we're a unique position to offer this support to people taking these medications. So I would say...
What makes them unique?
The UK's leading weight management organisation specialising in behaviour change support. You are not providing people with one-on-one therapists and counselling around their change. So you can't make that claim.
And
I feel some issues with that.
Yeah.
And now they have said this is where
Misinformation.
Yeah, so this
Fake news. Fake news, everyone.
They said deciding to lose weight, whether that's with medication, surgery, or it's a slimming club or any other method, takes courage, determination, and commitment. I'd agree. And we welcome anyone who's struggling with their weight and needs the help, expertise, and motivation to make lasting changes. So this is one of the first times, and I could have missed other things in fairness, but this is the first time where I've seen them kind of say opening the doors with one hand, where they say, "Hey, we welcome anyone," because we want money. But then we encourage members who are taking weight loss medications to share that information with their fellow members and the consultant who runs the group. It is nobody's business. Nobody's
Jesus
business.
Christ, no way.
Nobody's business.
Oh my God.
Only yours, what you are doing with your medical history. And so I have big issues with that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're going in there and you're not comfortable doing that, then you're not going to stay there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
no,
right.
I don't think that's
all,
on. No,
all.
it's done under the guise. I will read this bit out as well. This is that we can help them follow additional guidelines to ensure a healthy, balanced diet and that they're preserving their lean muscle, a risk with rapid weight loss through taking GLP1 drugs. It's also a risk with any weight loss that you're going to lose muscle. For Mounjaro on the clinical trial, as I looked up the other day, what it looked at is that out of the weight loss that happened, about 75%, I think it was, came from fat and 25% came from lean muscle mass, is what we're seeing in the trial. So absolutely eating, a protein intake will be important for that. But again, this where your strength training is going to be really important. And again, Slimming World are not the experts, unfortunately.
That's not. Yeah,
training.
they have. There's nothing.
And they're not. They're not dietitians.
No, they're not. None of them.
So they can't give you that level of bespoke dietary advice that you need when you're on a medical treatment.
The only thing that you needed to become a consultant for Slimming World was to have lost weight.
Yeah. And again, there are some phenomenal consultants out there that will do everything in their power to help you, and they will go and research things for you, and they are phenomenal.
Have information for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think
but as a company, as a group, as a financial institution, it's not. I don't find it great,
like this is where I said they kind of opened the door at one hand, and then here's where they're going to close it another little bit. It is very easy to believe.
I certainly don't agree that anybody should have to go into a club and
tell your fellow members. You can feck off. It's none of your business.
If you should be out with pitchforks after you.
Do you want me list of medication? Sure. Do you want to tell me ailment? Will I bring in my medical file for you?
No
Get away
way.
out of it. Get away out of that.
No,
you don't have a right to that information. And then this is where I say, after opening the door a little bit, it is very easy to believe that this new generation of drugs are the holy grail and that they'll see obesity rates reducing. We are seeing obesity rates stabilising. Yeah. There is the data there to support that, Slimming World. However, it is important to remember that they're a short-term medical intervention with many unpleasant side effects.
Wrong.
Like, there's so much wrong with this kind of...
There's so much wrong with that whole article, in fact, Paddy.
Yeah.
There really is. Yeah.
That was from their head of nutrition or whatever it was, right? Let's bring it forward to last week, Belinda, when the founder of... and chair
what's her name?
Of Slimming
Mary
World,
something, is it?
Margaret Miles Bramwell, OBE.
Yeah.
So they basically go on again. The government must take action and recognise that weight loss drugs are not the silver bullet, the holy grail, or the quick fix for obesity. Actually,
and she's saying this because what?
It actually could be a fix for people with chronic obesity, Margaret. And that's what many obesity doctors and endocrinologists are actually telling you now.
Yeah. And the thing is as well that with like normal dietitians that have gone and normal nutritionists that have gone and spent years and years in college and gone on to do their masters and all the rest of it, they've said that the dietary approach is definitely not one that they, as a team of qualified, experienced nutritionists, would recommend effective for weight loss or health optimization. And they're talking about Slimming World when they say that.
Yeah.
You know?
It also says, spending UK taxpayers' money on unnecessary and expensive drugs, the long-term side effects of which no one knows, is not the answer. Especially when there is a way that costs the taxpayer nothing. Like, what? What?
Is that what Margaret Bramwell
Yes.
is saying? Oh my
Yeah.
Lord, bless her.
So,
And do you know that
unnecessary.
photograph that's there of Margaret Bramwell? That's been there since 1997. That's the same photograph.
Spending the UK's tax more on unnecessary and expensive drugs. Margaret, if somebody is suitable for medical treatment that can help them with a chronic disease,
They're going to be taking the medication.
they're entitled to it. You don't go around to anyone and be like, oh, well, you're not. Oh, there's so much wrong with that. So much wrong with it. I couldn't believe when I read this page. I really couldn't.
But look, the thing is as well, it's just sensationalization, isn't it? It's just any reason to get into the newspaper.
Totally.
Get the Slimming World headline up there. Slimming World versus GLP1 medication.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it's like, these drugs, we've long known weight loss medication isn't for everyone. It might not be, but it absolutely is a tool that should be available, and people should not be stigmatized or be told that they shouldn't be taken, or that it's a waste of other people's money, Margaret. And if it's true, these drugs won't even be available for years. Margaret, in the UK, if you're eligible,
last week.
You could have it delivered like tomorrow. Like you really could.
What time is it now? 20 to 8.
Yeah.
Have by 20 to 8 in the morning.
Yeah, you could in the UK. Like, so I just, this article, and this is what I mean, that at least I can have an appreciation that Weight Watchers at least are recognizing, hey, do you know what? Let's not stigmatize people more that are on this medication. Even if it is from a commercial aspect, let's at least try and show them that, it's okay to be on them.
Involve them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get to choose that yourself.
Yes.
You get to go to Weight Watchers and say, oh yeah, I'm on a GLP-1 medication. There's a path for me there with everybody else that's on a GLP-1 medication. You know?
And like where they're saying that they don't know the long-term side effects. Again, Margaret, you're missing. People have been on GLP-1 medications for like 20 years in America. Like there's so much.
She's not well.
There's so much.
There's too much. There's too much. Too many red flags. There's too much wrong with that article.
And
now,
like the
altogether.
thing is that if I was to think about ever going back to a swimming club, that narrative coming from them would make me not want to go to them.
Yeah,
because I would feel that I would not be welcome there.
Yeah, and she's alienated so many people as well, just in that article
100%.
alone. You know, like yourself and myself, I would never go back to them.
Like
anyway, I would never be able to re-traumatize myself to sit in those rooms. You know,
as I say, unfortunately, not every consultant is like my.
Yeah,
Angel
you were very
Charlotte,
lucky, Paddy.
who
and you know
blessed
what, as well, like I'm not me saying that you were very lucky. I shouldn't say that, because I never really had a bad Slimming World consultant. I just, looking back, and I thought it was the bee's knees when I was in it. I was in it up to my eyeballs. Oh my God, I had a Slimming World t-shirt that said "I love Slimming World" on it, and I used to be a helper and all the rest of it. Of course, I get involved in everything anyway, and I made great friends there. But looking back now, I just thought that the way it was run was just so toxic to people's mental health. You know. So anyway,
there's so much that I could.
I know, to unpack. Yeah,
go into
and
that.
we're not paying enough for this.
And I think, like, what I would hope is that if people are thinking about a slimming club in the new year, that, and it's important, like, as I say, there's a lot more people get from slimming clubs than just the standing on the scales and stuff like that. And I absolutely do get that. Just make sure that you're joining a space that is going to be supportive of your goals and supported of your mental well-being for whatever future journey you might be on. And that's all I'd say. And so, like, I wouldn't say to someone, I wouldn't like, oh, never join a swimming club, because again, there can be that sense of community, that sense of togetherness, that sense of, do you know what? I'm not in this alone, you know? And the way that I always thought of it was, for some people, this could be just the stepping stones to help them get started on
Yeah.
something to progress to something that is more
Yeah,
sustainable.
the sense of camaraderie and community is there,
Yeah.
and everybody is, when you're there, everybody is helping you, and everyone is really kind, and though that side of it is really nice, and everybody brings in am I dreaming, or did we bring in a free food to put in a basket or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did-
And then in the middle, when you walk into the group, in the middle there was a table, and it had all the foods, all the sins on it,
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd mull around and you'd be talking to everybody, and then you'd buy your bars, wouldn't you? Then the magazine would be for sale. So it's a very, very social thing. But what I will say is just be extremely aware of your mental health going in there. And if it starts to get you down, or the fact that you're standing on a scales and somebody is writing your weight in a book every week, and if you haven't lost a pound, and that's really, like, you're sad for you, then don't sit in a room and try and explain why you put up a pound to people that don't know your journey, or don't know how you got there. Or I just feel that that's a really, really sad place to be if you have a medical condition that is not allowing you to lose weight at the same rate that every other one of your peers is. And that's how my life went. And that's why I feel that wasn't the place for me, But again, as I've just said, all of those other things are great as well. So just if you do go to them, just be mindful, mind yourself.
Yeah. You did the kind of packet food as well, did you? Like where you had to make up like shakes or soups.
Oh, lipotrim.
Did you do it?
Soups, shaken soups.
What
was yours called?
Lighter Life.
Lighter Life, right. Yeah. At that time, I was living on the Isles of Scilly, and 2003 maybe, I'd say I went on it.
Yeah.
And when I lived over there as well, I took what are the name of those tablets you take where it doesn't allow your body to absorb fat?
Oh, I found a box of them today upstairs.
Excuse the pun.
Xenical or Orlistat.
Orlistat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never trust a fart.
And if you have been honest,
tagline.
If you have been honest, you will know that is the truth.
Yep.
Like when I think of, and I will talk about this type of very low calorie diet, whereby you are put on 3 or 4 packets of a shake or soup or something, that in each of them there's only maybe 125, 150 calories. Like I remember a time when I was on these, and I was working as a trainer in a bank, and I was training a group of people, and I remember being lightheaded and dizzy and just totally not with it. I remember saying this in group. Now, bear in mind, I'd had like 500 to 600 calories max, right? And half the time I couldn't even finish them because they were disgusting. But I remember saying this in the group, in the therapy group, or whatever it was. I can't remember what they were called. And I remember just being told, you just need to drink more water. I'm like, all right. And I believed it.
Okay.
Because that's where I was at the time. I was trusting what I was being told. I'm like, okay, so this is going to be fine for me to just eat this amount of food and just drink water.
And you'll be fine.
And I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh God. That was the worst one I ever done. Ever in my life ever done. It just was... It was very, very, just...
I think that now and the Xenical, I think they were my 2 low points.
You see...
Oh, God. And that, did you do the cabbage soup diet?
No.
Maybe that was before your time.
No, I've heard of it, all right. But
my mom and all her sisters.
Yeah. I love cabbage. Yeah. Actually, I do like cabbage, but I wouldn't.
Oh, I like cabbage as well. Yeah, but not, and it's.
Yeah.
Not 3 times a day.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot there to kind of unpack, I guess, with the Slimming Club.
Yeah. So what was your, just going back to the very start, Paddy, sorry, what was your take on, or what was your biggest kind of, oh my God, about the program that was on last week? Last week, Monday night, RT1.
Yeah, which is available on the iPlayer if you missed it. Or T-Player, not iPlayer. Is it iPlayer or T-Player?
Yeah.
What's iPlayer?
RTE iPlayer.
iPlayer it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely for me, the fact of the Retatrutide being available in Ireland as well. That
Right,
bowled me. I wasn't surprised by the other stuff because, say, I get those messages regularly. My TikTok gets spammed with them. I know people who are getting it illegitimately. On my Instagram, when I did a poll, 10% of people, even after the show, said that they would still continue to get their medication via illegitimate ways if it was offered to them. And again, that is not shade on those people because, again, different people can be in different dire straits and, stuff like that.
And I put up one of those polls as well. And I think out of the 600 people, my question was, have you ever been offered black market GLP1 medications? And only 16% had.
But that's high. 16%.
I know, I suppose. Yeah. 84% had never.
Yeah.
And of the 16% that had been offered them, 10% of those people took them.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. Same, like I say, my page was about 10% of people said they would take them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't now. I would have
back
in the day. But am I just sitting here with the privilege?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of being able to not have to do that now, and saying that I would have back in the day, I probably would have if somebody told me that it was available. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's just saying you do not know what you're injecting. You do not know. You don't. You don't know what is in that liquid. And also, like if your doctor or other people aren't aware, this is the other thing that worries me. Heaven forbid, if something happened and you were brought into hospital or something like that, there's no record of you being on that medication.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
And even for you to be having just a nose surgery.
Yeah.
Having to be off that. I remember my Sean went in for a colonoscopy and shouldn't have been in there at all.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been in there at all. Shouldn't have been taking that drug, going into the hospital. Anyway, but
because the risk is when you're going in under general anaesthetic that there's a risk of aspiration, you call it, which can be fatal. So again, this isn't just a willy-nilly or whatever. It's serious stuff, But again, perfectly safe if you're doing it with the guidance of your medical team and stuff like that. Like I overdid it. I did query it with 3 different medical professionals.
Paddy, I'm really surprised at you at overdoing anything. I could never seen you like pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, no, I did. I did query it with actually 4. I lie, 4 because I asked 3 different prescribers what would they advise.
Yeah, because you weren't believing any of them either, were you? Because you were getting different answers.
I was getting different answers. So I asked 3. Yeah, that's the other thing. I did get different answers. I asked 3 different prescribers what guidance would they give. And then I had a call with the hospital that's actually doing it, and the anaesthetist give the guidance. Then
you had a meeting with him, didn't you? How did that go?
It didn't need to go ahead because the telephone consultation was enough.
Oh right, grand. Yeah. But you spoke to your anaesthetist on that telephone conversation.
Spoke to his nurse.
Right. Okay.
Well, not his nurse.
And she,
the nurse works in the hospital. Maybe she is his nurse. I don't know. She treats him.
Let's hope he doesn't need one.
Yeah, no, I did say to him, because this is the other thing, because obviously they work out the anaesthetic based on your weight.
Yeah.
So I did say to him, I said, look, as of today, this is my weight, but I'd be hoping that come like nearly 2 months'
the end
time,
of January.
Yeah, that like I could be down a bit more. I said, so just let you know. When you're doing
no,
your
they do weigh you again.
Okay.
They do double check that. Okay. Yeah. Your pre-ops and your They double check everything. But, not your bloods though. They won't redo your bloods, just your weight on that morning.
I got my bloods done the other day though, actually. So I did.
Yeah.
So I got my bloods done. This was the first time I got them done since I started the medication.
I got mine done today as well.
Are you bruised? Bruised?
A little bit. Are you?
Yeah, same bruise. I'm quite hard to find a vein in though. Are you?
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
I will have a look at my bloods that I got done last 6 months ago as well. Yes. When I get the results, I've never done that before, so I'll be really, really interested.
Yeah, mine were all okay. Everything was fine in them, but I'm going to get the copy of them as well, the actual full report, and compare it to the last ones. But
they said I'm going to do that as well. I've never done it.
Yeah, they said everything was fine, but I have I think I might have said this before, I have the DEXA scan booked again for the end of January. So that's the one I'm interested to see if the DEXA scan, how it compares to the one from September. So that'll be a 4-month, is it? A 4-month gap. And it'll be interesting to see, out of the weight that I have lost in that 4 months, is it in line with 25% muscle loss or higher or lower? Because that's what the clinical trial saw. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
That will be great. God, I wish I had done a DEXA now when I started as well.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't do it when I started, and that's like I was
A couple of months in, were you?
Raging. Wish I had it done. I don't know why I didn't think of it at the start of getting it done.
Yeah. But also, like, we would advise anybody to do that. I think we would advise anyone, if they're starting out to do a DEXA scan, we would advise anyone to absolutely take all of their measurements.
Yeah.
And take really, really good photographs as well. Paddy, you have got some really good photographs, comparison photographs.
Yeah, you can
I have as well. I have in my knickers and bra from when I started Ozempic, and then when I started Mounjaro, I took another one, and then when I hit my goal, I'm going to take another one, and it's only then will I put those out there. So,
and if anybody wants to buy any of them, they're
nope.
$9.99
well,
a month.
if it goes well, I'm going to open up an OF account.
Come here, you had to get your money out of Instagram, let alone OF.
I know, I'm freaking OnlyFans. I found a really good platform, though. I must tell you about that later, and it's all working now and everything.
Okay, so. Brilliant.
We'll see how that goes.
Is there anything else we're meant to talk about tonight that we haven't?
I don't think so. It was black market Ozempic and things, other
slimming
kind of diets and stuff, slimming worlds and everything related. That we would have been on, and how Oprah had gotten involved with the GLP1 world and stuff like that. And I think she's doing a really good job of normalizing it. Yeah,
she is, and definitely that is a good documentary. I said the one on Disney Plus.
Very much looking forward to watching that now.
Yeah, it is good, and I think particularly the area of children and the medication, it's an interesting one, because I don't know where my head is at with that, because I don't know enough about it, but there is. Yeah, it's covered in that show, the Oprah show, and there is other kind of pediatric type trials happening at the moment with the medication.
I will say though, Paddy, if you had a child and your child was like severely obese and you couldn't find a reason for it other than it had to be a biological reason, and somebody said to you, a doctor or an endocrinologist said to you, if your child takes this medication, I can guarantee you that he will live 30 years longer and he will be fine. So when you put it down to those kind of brass, you know.
And this thing that, like, I guess, if I was to think back to young Paddy, 11, 12, and someone said that to me, would I take it? I'd probably jump at it. But I guess the concern...
But your mum would have as well, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the concern that there could be out there is obviously coming into your teenage years, there's so many hormonal changes happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is there data
how the
out
effect,
there? Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it is a hormone you're putting into your body. You know, I consider it to be another HRT.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So Belinda, what's next on the cards over the next week or two?
What are we
Christmas.
doing? Thursday we're doing a live, aren't we?
And it'll have happened.
Yes. Thursday, the 19th of December, 2024, just in case you're listening to this in 2025, when we're have our own TV show and everything.
Yes, absolutely.
We have left the dose well behind in the dust.
We've got our own chat show been called The Dose with Paddy and Belinda. Kind of like The View.
Dose.
But yeah, so that live. So if you're listening to this, we did the live on the 19th of December. That is going to be coming out as a kind of podcast special as well. We're talking about kind of Christmas and the run up to Christmas
bonus special, and we're talking about, like, for instance, Paddy, this is your first time going into Christmas, New Year on this medication. This is my bloody third year. going into it. And most of the people that I know, like that are on my subscription page, they are all kind of going into their first year as well. And there's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
The other thing that I actually haven't told you this, because I only found out today that a new service is, well, they're already in Ireland, but like we've spoke about some of the prescribing services in Ireland that give you access to the medication. But another one has made Mounjaro available on their website today, the 17th of December.
Stop.
Yeah.
Not the one.
Yeah. So stay tuned and we'll tell you more about that in the future, folks. Yeah.
Can I stay tuned after this and you can tell me?
But yeah, definitely expect a bit more about that. I'll definitely be sharing a bit more about that as well.
On my
you
will,
media.
I think.
So fingers crossed anyway. But we'll leave it on that cliff edge for this week.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the new year as well. And we've got some really, really good guests lined up as well. And we've actually been invited onto another couple of podcasts ourselves as well, haven't we? One from the States.
Yep, which is interesting and one that I love following too. And hopefully working on some more guests and some stuff for next year as well. So really, really exciting. And as I say, we have still hopefully we'll be able to either microdose or a full episode just on the responses from Eli Lilly whenever they get back to us with the queries that we have sent them about Mounjaro in the Republic of Ireland, and the response about how is Retatrutide available in Ireland, because it shouldn't be available, so it shouldn't. But anyway, Belinda, I hope you've made the nice list, although something tells me that
I don't think so.
No. Not a hope.
I really don't think so. Paddy, thank you so much. This was brilliant.
Yeah.
How long have we been going on? About 2 hours.
What I see, is this still recording? About an hour and 20, give or take.
Oh yeah, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah,
cool.
And not too many curse words, because then because like there's nothing fucking worse than cursing. Right? Okay. Goodbye.
Remember, the information within this podcast should not be taken as personal medical advice. Always consult your own healthcare team before starting or changing any medical treatment.